Audio sync. Hello everyone. It's been 3 weeks since you guys last saw me and Silver Lining heading straight for a wall at about 140 kilometers an hour. My reaction, the car's done, was a little bit over the top perhaps. I was fearing the worst and thinking we weren't going to be racing again for the rest of the season.
The car is done, game over, we're not racing again, this car is written off.
And astonishingly, I stand before you with nothing but good news. The car came out looking reasonable and Steve's done incredible work to put it back together. And the good news is, we're going racing this weekend. So get ready for Let's Go Grassroots at the Road Races of Atlantic Canada, round number 4 at Atlantic Motorsport Park. No, come here. Come here. Woo. Sit, sit, sit. You were being so good. There. We found the root cause. I wish I had a better reason. Jayden's trying to make me feel better about it. But it was ultimately driver error in that I didn't pay attention to a detail that I should have. This is it. This is really the extent of the damage. I was thinking sort of everything from this vicinity onward was going to be removed. It wasn't. It really was straight coming off the bottle depot. But what was changed? Well, a couple of things. Obviously, there had to be some replacements done. Camber plate on the top of the MCS, that was bent. Headlight, clips were all broken. Expected. It did take a big hit. Fog light, that's the same one that was there, recovered, put on. Canards, the dive planes, shockingly, those are the exact same ones that were on it when it went into the wall. Even those survived. Bit of splintering just here. This lower piece, which essentially takes away the air pocket that would exist below the splitter, that had to be repaired. Third time it's been repaired. Obviously the bumper had to be fully repaired, and I shouldn't even say repaired, I should say replaced. Here's the old bumper cover, completely destroyed on the inside, cracked apart on the bottom even. This wheel, this is the one that actually went straight into the wall first. This was the left front wheel that was on the car at the time. They tried to repair the outside and smooth it out. They couldn't really do so, but more importantly than that was that the hub center was bent. So right in the middle was actually hit so hard that it was bent. Splitter, obviously destroyed. The biggest of the damage, I suppose, in terms of impact and force was quite obviously the control arm and the tie rod end. Both of these items are supposed to be straight. This now looks a bit like a boomerang. Likewise, this is supposed to be perfectly straight. This almost looks intentional. In fact, you could have fooled me. All of the force that went through the center of the wheel to bend the hub center then landed onto these. They bent, but replaced and ready to go. There is one thing that's missing, and the only thing that's missing from what was damaged. The splitter. Unfortunately, we didn't get that in time. That's our project for tomorrow, but I'll get back to that in a minute because we have a solution that'll be a temporary fix. But what caused it? Well, sadly, this is where I have to admit, I was negligent of my dash. Basically what happened is an impeller in the water cooler snapped off. When it did, obviously the water temps went sky high. That then melted the casings off the wiring on the alternator, fried the alternator, which then cut power to the ABS, and the rest is evident. I hit the brakes expecting the ABS to come in. They didn't, it instant locked. I had very little time to react because it's a trail braking corner. I was already aimed at the wall, and that's where I ended up. So at the end of the day, sure, it is a mechanical failure, but there was warnings, and I ignored them, and I didn't see them, and that's my fault. Stupidity, ultimately. Now, did the engine take any damage from running that hot? We won't know that until we get out for practice tomorrow night. We've got brand new Pirellis again. I told you I was addicted and I was gonna have to spend the money on them. I have, which is why I also need to get a splitter on the front of it because I really wanna make sure our aerodynamics are gonna match the tires that are on there. Considering what kind of went on and where we ended up, I think this looks pretty good. The only thing that doesn't look good is the bill. Racing is extremely expensive. Unfortunately, this comes out of my pocket, and it's, well, I'll be clear, into the 5 digits. Not super thrilled on that, but again, I expected it to be much worse, so I think I have to be a little bit thankful of that. Here we go. This guy's ready. This is splitter piece number 1, and I'll use that as the template onto the pressurized plywood tomorrow, of which I've got plenty, so true grassroots style, if I do say so myself. Jayden's already found the only carpet in the entire garage. Do you want to go for a drive? Saturday. It's about 10:30 a.m. We got to be there around 3:30 for setup, and then practice obviously at 5 to 7 like normal. So we're gonna cut this down. We're gonna use the old pieces to make a template. We're gonna use the old mounts, which are pretty beat to be fair. And we're gonna try and get these back on the car. And then we're gonna throw the Nittos back on it when it's on the hoist, so we save the Pirellis for tomorrow morning. I feel like I'm doing arts and crafts. Stop. It's hammer time. Well, that's dead already. As expected, the metal blade didn't last. It's hot. That was dumb. So I think I'm gonna have to run over to Canadian Tire and get the proper blade. And then we can get this bad boy cut and drilled and screwed and mounted and all the other innuendos that we wanna do to this board. This hard piece of wood. Success, we have blades. So the next step, now that we've got the basic layout of this probably 5 times the weight of a normal carbon splitter, wooden splitter built, is to get these on. These are the mounts from the old one. This one was absolutely bent sideways when they tore it off the wall, and it's a little twisted. So I'm a little concerned that they may not line up flush, but we're gonna drill them anyway before they're on the car because it's easier. So fun fact about putting this car on a hoist is that not only do you have to lower the feet all the way, but you gotta drive up on boards because it's too low for these hoists. Well, I haven't really been underneath it much since the hit. This side's obviously looking kind of muddy and scraped up. It might be a project in a few years to strip it down again and paint up some of the spots that have taken the hits. But the brake cables are fine, everything's good. This bracket, you can tell it has a sticker on it. It had to be replaced, all these mounts were bent. But otherwise it's not too bad under here. You can see the new control arm, the new tie rod, which was bent back here. So right now the goal is, you can see the 13 mil wrench. I've got to release the bumper mounts, pull those out. The mounts, which are right here, are gonna go up in between those and sit so that we can get the splitter back on. And with any luck in an hour or so, we should have everything mounted and be ready to load the trailer and head to the track. Ow. All right, those are out. Boom. This is where these go. Boom, in like so. Then we kind of have to adjust and bend them a little bit to make sure they're gonna fit. These brake ducts were also replaced from the crash. They took a hit, obviously, the whole bumper got pushed in, so these were part of that, and they've been replaced, which is good because brake cooling is important, or else we could have a different type of brake failure. Keep them on the sides they were on. Get the clips lined up. I've done something clever. I've used the same table we cut the splitter on. I brought it in, I brought the car down. We're gonna try and line it up, those holes with the mounts, and that'll allow me hopefully to mount the back 3 more cleanly and line them up. We use maybe a paint marker, but this is pretty good. We're kind of seeing how our carbon fiber, not carbon, our plywood splitter is gonna look. Derek and I managed to get the splitter on. It was definitely a 2-person job. The hardest part was lining it up. But the Let's Go Grassroots plywood splitter has officially been installed. We did have to shave out over here because we didn't get the mount points, or I didn't get the mount points, I should say, completely right. So we just had to shave it a few more times to make sure there's tire clearance. Derek put the Nittos back on. We got the tires in the trailer. We're gonna load up and we're gonna head to practice. So there we go. Here we are, again at AMP. Running last year's Nittos. They're better than the ones I gave to Will last weekend. We'll go with them and we'll see how they work. We'll see how they do. I just need 12, 15 laps, get the car up to temps, hold it at temps. Additionally, make sure that the engine's not gonna go pop. That's the last fear that we have from this ordeal. Oh, hey, look, that's what a water gauge looks like. So far, so good. Water temps are up, so we'll start to get up to some speed. Oh man, I can feel the buffeting of that wooden splitter.
How is it, Matt?
Feels fine, I haven't pushed yet. Let's try and go for a hot one.
definitely lacking pace with the splitter going because I can't get out of the 14 range. But again, these tires are old. We're just trying to make sure the car is going to stay well put, well behaved, inside the temperature range, which it is.
Practice was, I guess, successful, all things considered. We definitely knew we had to be careful on the engine. We had to watch the temperatures. We had to make sure that everything was going to be okay there. It was. Water temperature held steady. Oil temp stayed, up on the dash where it always is, but somewhere between sort of 250, 270, that range, which is normal. And keep in mind, I also have a wooden splitter on, which I can feel, by the way, is working, and we've been successful in installing the wooden splitter. Oh, look, Jayden's making friends with Luther. Luther, hey buddy, hey buddy, hi bud. Oh, here comes jealous Jayden. Luther is Lee's dog. So our dogs are rivals, just like we are, I guess. No, they're pretty friendly. They're pretty friendly, and so are we. So we'll put on the Pirellis tomorrow, see how we're doing. May do a brake pad change at lunchtime. So for tonight, yeah, we're in the trailer, we're away. I'm gonna grab some fuel for tomorrow. You need about, just so you guys know, for a race day, you need about 115 liters for just race day. So we've got about 30 still in the car. We'll fill up the rest, bring it back in the truck. We're going racing. That's the best part. It's not necessarily what I expected when I was sitting on top of the wall 3 weeks ago, but here we are. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I may get a penalty for that.
Jayden. Hey, Jayden. Jayden. Come on, what are you doing? Come here. Come on. You gotta stay over here. That's not your car. I'll come get her.